camera.
Oh, look at this. Our guest has arrived, and we're going to make a couple of changes here. For those who are not watching right now, those of you who are listening on the radio, you're going to recognize this voice. You don't need to see his face. Good-looking guy. Great facial hair. Wonderfully coiffed hair.
Prescription check
you
there,
don't need to see him to recognize that voice. It is the voice of the Philadelphia Flyers. Jim Jackson, how are you doing?
Doing great. How are you guys?
What's going on, Jimmy?
What's a game like tonight for you? Maybe it's a national game and you don't get to call it.
Bundy knows about it. I hate sitting out games.
Yeah?
Can't stand it. Yeah, I'd rather be calling the game. But when I will say this, when I watch the game and I'm not calling the game, I see a lot of stuff that I don't see when I'm calling the game, away from the play, things like that, how a guy is doing defensively, things like that. So I will watch. I'll chart chances, and but not calling it doesn't sit well with me.
Yeah, you get kind of fidgety, right?
Absolutely. And whoever's sitting next to me has to hear me call it probably anyhow. So.
Yeah, they're tough when you get the national game and your broadcasters, especially on the road. It's the worst because you got to kind of just mix in with everybody else, try to stay out of everybody's way to get ready for the game.
Yeah.
But
pretend you're important.
Pretend you're important while staying out of eyesight of anyone.
Exactly.
Yeah. Oh, that's great. That's great. So Jim, we were just actually maybe we'd have Jim break the tie for us too.
Yeah,
let's do that.
We've gone out to the people. The
But
people
go out to the
they'll
people.
weigh in, but
Yeah. So we do a player of the week. It's a sponsored thing that we do on the show. And we all picked somebody different this week.
Really?
Yeah. And so we want to see if maybe you
I
can
have
break
to think
the tie.
about this now. I'm all into what's going on in the future.
Post the Tampa game, so starting in Florida.
Okay, so the last 3 games.
4 games.
Four games with a loss.
Yeah.
I'm trying to block that one out.
Yeah. Nobody wants to
All right,
remember
let me
this.
think about this because I'm not one of these guys who always goes with the guy who has the most points.
Yeah.
I try to figure out who had the most influence in the games. So I'm going back. I'm thinking about all the games. One in Florida was Island, and then obviously the
New
Devils
Jersey.
game. And it was like there were different players. Who am I going to go with?
I like the thinking. I like the thought process.
let's hear who's thinking.
I was saying Zegras. Zegras is who came to my mind first, but there were other. But I'll go Zegras.
Look at
That
that.
actually made it
the guys
2.
on the ends.
That's two.
He
That's
went
2 for Zegras.
Russ
I
went with
went
Zegras.
Russ went with Zegras.
I
I knew there was one smart guy
might-
here. Yeah.
Anthony went with
Tyson Foerster.
Tyson Foerster.
He would have been my second choice.
And I took Vladar because I don't
Well,
think the Flyers are 3-1 without his game against Florida.
Yeah, without the Jersey game, and it wasn't. I'm sorry, without the Pittsburgh game, it wasn't his fault.
No, just one of those nights.
He was, I would say, through the 3 wins, I probably would have gone Vladar. But so
They're probably
so
the 3 best
all
choices.
3 of you
All
guys
three.
have good choices.
Yeah.
Yes, that's what I'm trying to
So
say.
there you
Yeah.
go. Good stuff.
Yeah, Zegras has been. It's amazing. They're 6-0 when he scores a goal. He has not gone more than 2 points, 2 games a year this year in a row without a point. He's not been known as a consistent player necessarily throughout his career, but that's what he's been for the Flyers.
What do you think of Danny was talking the other night about Christian Dvorak. We were just talking about him too. How much does he allow Zegras to play his game?
He does. There's no doubt Trevor needs a defensive conscience on his line, and Dvorak has been that. Dvorak has gone 3 or 4 now, I think 5 games without a scoring chance. I want to see him get back to having some offense in his game too, but there's no doubt when he's playing with guys like Zegras and Tippett and guys like that you have to have someone out there who's going to take care of the defensive side of the puck because those two want to be allowed to create, and that's what they do.
One of the things I'm going to go on a slightly negative side here, but not majorly, but only because Rick Tocchet brought it up. He was concerned last game that they finally got bit on the penalty kill.
Yes,
because it's kind of lost its structure a little bit.
it has.
He says they've been drifting into they play that aggressive diamond, right? And he said the last few games, actually about 5 games, the goalies have saved them a number of times.
They have.
That it's kind of drifted to more of a box. And he said, I hate the box. Like what are you seeing? He says more about defensive communication. That's lacking.
It is. Sometimes it's energy. I thought the other night, first of all, Pittsburgh was throwing the puck around like vintage Penguins on the power play. Crosby, Malkin, and Letang, Carlson, all those guys. So, but I would say that, and if you look at the numbers, the penalty kill started to fade about 2.5 to 3 weeks ago. They gave up 3 straight games. They gave up a goal and only had 2 against in each game. Then they had a couple games where it looked a little bit better, but mainly it was the goaltender, who was the most important penalty killer. But Vladar saved them a couple times. Anderson had a couple games where at least on the penalty kill, he made some big saves. So I agree with him. You can see it when you're looking from up above, and Bundy knows about this more than I do. But when you start to lose shape with your penalty kill, and then there's lanes. There's just the seams open up.
That's what happened with the Brian Rust goal the other night. What happened was the Flyers had their diamond, but what happened was Sanheim backed in. And when that puck went out to Rust, what his job is to actually straight line out to that guy to alleviate the pressure, either the puck going down towards the net or going back to the point. And Rust saw it. He says, you know what? I'm just going to use him as a screen.
Yep.
And that's exactly what he did. Sanheim was not able to get out or didn't process to get out to work that diamend. It's not really he couldn't figure it out. It's just a matter of they fell out of structure.
Yeah, and you wonder
happens.
with Sandy whether it's, is he getting a little tired? He's third, fourth in the league in minutes per game. And this schedule is pretty demanding. So I haven't seen the same energy with some of the players. Certainly didn't see it in the Pittsburgh game. Hope it's back tonight. This is a big game tonight. They need to win this game, especially with Colorado being your next game. But also, they haven't lost 2 in a row in regulation, but once all year. They're 7-1-2 after losses. That's the best record in the NHL after losses. They want to keep that going. You got to bounce back after losses. So I know it's Buffalo. People think they're easy, but they've actually played better hockey lately. This is a pretty big game. They need to get two points today.
Losing Foerster, obviously he's a leading goal scorer. Other guys are going to have to step up and bring the offense. Talk said he wants everybody to play with a little bit more, play about 5% more. But he did say there's a couple guys that need to probably play 10% more. Yeah. Who do you think those couple guys are? Who need to add those goals?
I would think the leaders of the team, the guys who get the most ice time, Travis Konecny's probably one. TK has a ridiculous number going right now that I just read for the first time, though. In the last 8 games, he hasn't been on the ice for an even strength goal against. Really impressive.
Wow.
Yeah, it's really impressive.
Considering how he turns the puck over, that kind of surprises me.
He takes chances for sure. But when he's talking about that, I mean, he really means everybody. It doesn't work if one guy improves 10% and another guy goes back 5%. They need, from Monday, they need a lot of guys to be better. From the game in Jersey, not necessarily so. I mean, they just need to bounce back as a team. But Foerster is not just a goal scorer. He's I would say their best all-around forward. I think he's graduated to that point now. And he kills a lot of plays. You don't see the puck in the Flyers zone that much when Foerster's on the ice. That's a huge loss, not just because he's a goal scorer, but because of all the other stuff he brings. So, yeah, they need guys like Dvorak to actually get back to maybe where he was as a two-way force 5 or 6 games ago. TK, I always say, because he's kind of the engine of the team, so he has to rev it up. Sean Couturier's got to be there's all. I can go right down the list. There's players. I mean, who Zegras probably is one guy who just has to be where he's been. Tip's been pretty good of late. Michkov's on the rise. He has to continue that way. So you can go right down the lineup, really, Anthony, and you could say almost every guy has to step up, and the defenseman too.
Yeah, agreed. That's kind of what we said. The first guy I said was Konecny.
Yeah. Well, he's the engine, right?
Yeah,
he's been for a while.
Yeah, so. And he's not on a torrid pace goal scoring wise. No. So when somebody's out like Foerster, it's the next guy up that's got to step up for that.
Yeah, if you're talking about just the offense, TK would probably be number one on the list because he's behind a pace that you'd want him to be at. A lot of guys are pretty much on pace. Michkov's picked up a lot of goals lately, but he's got to continue to be a force offensively. But if we're talking just the goal scoring part of Tyson Foerster that they're going to be missing, I mean, they got to get more from that. It would be nice to get even a little offense from the fourth line. I mean, a big part of it's going to be Grabenkin. He's going to now play up in the lineup. He's going to get his chance. He's only had a couple of those. When Foerster was out earlier, he got a couple, and he actually did produce a little bit. So I'm really interested in seeing how he reacts. I have a conversation with my broadcast partner about him all the time, and he's like, well, he's not showing much. And I'm like, yeah, but, it's when he's not getting much ice time. He's playing 8-9 minutes, and when you get that, you feel like you have to do something every shift, and sometimes you try to do too much. So, and Bush really likes him as a player, so we're going to probably see more of him now as a player, and he'll get a chance. And if he doesn't do it, then it's probably going to be another either Grunstrom or a youngster, Bump or somebody comes up. Somebody's got to graduate to that top 9 while Foerster's out.
Yeah, I agree. And we were talking about Grabenkin earlier. It was interesting to talk about him, and I was telling the story he was saying earlier today that at practice they were working on 2-on-1s with him because they want him to shoot the puck.
Yes.
And he's looking to pass the puck a little bit too much. And he says it's tough because you don't want to give him too much information because of the language barrier.
Right.
It's kind of hard. But at the same time, you need him to play a certain way, and he doesn't feel like he's ever had that kind of detailed coaching in his career before. And so it's kind of a delicate balance with him. And so they were hoping to give him a little bit more time, but they feel like they could give him a little bit of a runway here and see maybe if he could be a third line kind of guy.
Yeah, and I know Tox talked about he's afraid they've given him so much that he's out there thinking instead of playing. Yeah. And I think the message to him lately has been more just go out and play. And we've taught you a lot of things. Try to work them into your game, but don't forget to just go out and play, because if you remember him in the preseason, and of course he was playing more minutes, power play, things like that. But he really, to me, jumped out as a guy who has some skill. He can wins battles along the wall. He should be one of the better flyers along the wall. And we were talking about how the scouting report on him is his speed might be a problem. It didn't look like it early, and then as you watch him here in the last 10 or 12 games that he's played, you say, well, yeah, he might be a half step slow. But he wasn't when he was getting more ice time. So my hope is that when he's comfortable, when he's taking a regular shift, when he's playing with more skilled players, that's not a lack of speed at all. It was more he was trying to process things in his game and slowed down.
The last 2 times out, Sam Ersson has looked a little bit better. I would say before the Tampa game, there was maybe some concern with where he was, except for shootouts. Obviously, he's tremendous in the shootout.
We need to hypnotize him into thinking the game is a shootout.
Right, yes. Exactly. What have you seen from him in those last 2 starts? I know it was only 17 shots against Tampa, but I thought he played really well against the Islanders, even though they came back from the 3-goal deficit to tie it. I don't really put that on Sam. What have you seen in those last 2 games that show you that maybe he's back to being the guy that he was before this season?
Well, the thing about Sam is what we usually praise him for is his calm demeanor in net.
Yeah.
But when a goalie who isn't playing well and has that demeanor, then we say, well, he's not being aggressive enough. So I'm not an expert enough on goaltending to know when he's doing that and when he isn't. Bush you've probably been around enough goaltenders.
A little bit, yeah.
You might have an idea. But, I mean, he has to walk that tightrope between calm and aggressive. And I think at times this year has looked as though maybe he's gone back into the calm a little too much and not maybe aggressive enough. And with Sam, it isn't like you watch a game and you say, oh, he's been terrible. But there's like that one goal that maybe he could have stopped, right?
Yeah.
So he doesn't have to improve that much to get that. And I remember two stretches with Sam. One was last year after Christmas to the Four Nations break. And that was a 14 to 15 game stretch for him. He had a save percentage in the 920s. That's a pretty long stretch for a goalie to be in the 920s. And he had the one the year before where everyone was starting to anoint him. So he is capable of these stretches of really good goaltending, and the Flyers need that right now because Vladar's been playing a lot, maybe a little slippage in the last game or two. Now it's Sam's turn to maybe step up.
I wanted to pick your brain here for a second from what you do on a night in and night out basis. When the team has this many games in such a condensed period of time, and you're preparing for games, one, do you like being in the arena that much, that often, and just kind of have to, kind of the amount of stats, the prep and everything, you kind of have to purge it from your brain and kind of go back into it. Do you like that better, or do you like having a little bit more time in between to kind of dive deeper into the opposition?
I envy football announcers. They get build up for a week, do a game, and then build up for the week, do a game. But I would say that you get into a rhythm. When the season is Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, then maybe you break till Tuesday again. That's fine. You get a day off somewhere in there, Sunday maybe, watch football. I don't mind a day off here and there, but I also did baseball for 14 years, and that's every day forever. So as Ant knows, it is a grind. I know it's a different sport, and even as an announcer, you don't do as much prep for baseball because you're obviously 3 games against the same team, so it's not like you're doing a different team every game. But you still have to be on your game and sharp every time you're on the air. So that is a tremendous grind. So hockey, to me, compared to that, is not as tough. You get a day off usually. You have a couple back-to-backs. Flyers have 14 this year. Back-to-backs are rushed, Russ. I'll tell you, those are ones where I feel like I might have to cut back on my prep. But as long as you have a day off, you get your full prep in. And as long as you get a day where you're completely off away from hockey once a week or so, it's good. And once I'm at the arena, once I'm in the booth, everything's good. There have been times when I've had, Bundy knows this, I've had a cold or something, and you feel like crap all day. but then you're there, the puck drops, you're in the booth, and you
away
feel
you go.
better.
Yeah.
It's just like kind of my, I don't know, what's the word for it?
Superpower.
Nirvana. Nirvana. You're just, that's where I want to be.
So what's it going to look like for you when the Olympic break hits?
I'm going away with my wife to California. That's what it's
nice.
going.
There you go.
For about most of that, 10. How long? It's about 17 days, right?
Yeah.
I think we're gone for 10 days. So
Nice.
I'll have a week where I'm here too. I'm doing broadcast coaching as well, so I have to open up some dates for that. But for the most part, relaxing. Get away from it and be ready for what's going to be a sprint after that.
Speaking of the Olympics, what's up with the ice?
Big time trouble.
Today is that a
Oh,
real problem?
I just heard a report today. They're way behind, and now the ice is going to be smaller.
It's going to be like the old odd in Buffalo.
Smaller than the NHL.
Smaller
ice.
NHL, but usually Olympic ice is much bigger.
way bigger.
Yes, I would say it's an advantage to the American and Canadian teams just because
Sure.
of the styles they play. But I can't believe, with all the time you have to build up for this, that they got that wrong. It's just hard to believe. But they're not sure it's going to be ready. If the NHL is going to check in early January, and then you're talking a month away. If it's not done, we might start hearing about contingency plans. I mean, the players aren't going to go.
Or
I read that today from Bill Daly.
Could you imagine if the players didn't go and there's that break in the season?
Yeah, they can't do anything about that because the arena availability is gone.
Right.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it would be the strangest thing. The players are going to go on vacations.
What are you going to do for 2.5 weeks?
Yeah.
Would they just relocate it? And
I would think that.
I haven't heard
any.
I haven't heard any talk about that.
But
though.
I mean, that would probably be the only other thing that makes sense, right?
It would make sense, but as you know, Russ, in this world, not everything that makes sense happens.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not sure that you can. I mean, you'd have to get everybody to get that to happen would be a major
monumental disaster.
Yes. I mean, where would they go? Austria? I don't know. Where do we go to play it?
Switzerland?
Yeah, it's they maybe. I mean, it would be better than no competition at all. But then you're not at the Olympics. So is it really the Olympics if you're not there? It's going to be fascinating. I can't believe we're at this point. I know I'm sure Bill Daly listening to today, you can tell he can't believe we're at this point.
I agree. Yeah. I mean, he said he mentioned that too about the availability of players if they don't rectify it.
Yeah. But I mean, I don't know.
They couldn't look to hold. I mean,
like
in theory, right? They wouldn't look to hold their, like how they did the Four Nations last year. They wouldn't look to try to do like an alternate tournament during the same time and have it stateside, would they?
Well, it would be just the tournament moved, I think. You can't whether it would be considered the Olympics or not, I don't know. And secondly, where are you going to find arenas this tight to it?
Yeah.
I mean, it's going to be, maybe you can dance around the concerts and everything else that people have scheduled to do a short tournament, but it wouldn't be a full Olympic tournament. So I don't know how you would do that. That would be perhaps even more monumental than what they did coming out of COVID, which was incredible that the NHL got that all without missing a full season. But I don't know how they, on such short notice now, they've only had a couple months to get ready for it. It'd be really tough.